Tenakata, tenakata, tenakata kata. Welcome to Kōrero with Vaishali, where everyone comes to love, laugh, live the moment and inspires all to live our life in its authentic way, being the best version of ourselves. So today we are on Kōrero with Vaishali, elections for the Kōrero, Hamilton. So who we have today? So today we have Danielle Marks, who is standing for East Ward. What does her campaign says? Her campaign says, Kōrero has helped shape me into the person I am today. Now it's my turn. I want to return the care and compassion has been shown to me and take the opportunity to represent our local community, to protect our natural environment and give voice to the concerns and needs of young people. So let's find out what Danielle has to bring and give the best to the community and Hamilton. Shall we welcome her? Let's welcome Danielle Marks.
Well, thank you so much for having me in Te Kite Aronui here in Rosatuna today to have a kōrero with Vaishali.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yeah, it's my pleasure to be out here in the sunshine and come and talk to you about what you are bringing the best for our city. Cool. All right, so shall we get into it?
Yeah.
Yes? So first thing first, could you please tell us about yourself, your personal life, and a little bit about professional life?
Yeah. So, funnily enough, I'm Danielle Marks. I grew up in Rotorua, so just down the road, but moved to Hamilton, Kirikiroa in 2016. So next year's my 10-year anniversary of living here. I came here to study law and politics at the university. Graduated during lockdown, which was what a time to be trying to finish up studying, getting all the T's crossed and the I's dotted, and just stayed because I found my community here. I found the people that I enjoy hanging out with. So why not stay here and be cool and awesome like everyone else in the Tron?
Nice.
So professionally at that time, because 2020 was a bit of a nasty time to try and find a job, much like right now, I ended up working as a living wage organiser, so for the living wage movement, advocating to council, both Hamilton City Council and Waikato Regional Council, to make sure that our bus drivers were paid a living wage at the very least. And then moved into Emerge Aotearoa, working with our most vulnerable communities who were trying to seek housing, helping to make sure that they had wraparound support, whether that was actually just someone to take them to the bank to pay their bills or ring up someone to sort a bill or anything of that kind of support that they needed. And then was fortunate to move into Waikato Regional Council as a kai whakarite, focusing on our treaty settlement claims here in the Waikato. Lots of settlements in our region, so that's from Port Waikato all the way down to Taumaranui Ways. So quite a large area. And then moved back into community development more recently to have more time to spend with my family back home in Rotorua. So back home I'm also a trustee for our Runanga, our post-settlement governance entity, our reserves trust, to make sure that we care about our environment and make sure that we make great decisions now that benefit not only us living today but also our future generations to come. And that's kind of a bit of a history of myself.
That's great, thank you. All right, you might have said it, but still I will ask you so that we can go into a little bit depth that what inspired you to stand for the councillor? Yeah,
I'm really excited about the future of Hamilton. Like, we are the fastest growing city in Aotearoa, and with that comes great opportunities for us to invest in ourselves as communities, but also to invest in a city that looks after each other, but also the region that we're a part of. So I don't see ourselves as just Hamilton. I see us as a stop-in for people who live on the boundaries, like Te Awamutu, Morrinsville, all these brilliant towns who uphold a lot of our economy when we think of dairy farming and all those good things. But also, we have so many cool things to offer in Hamilton. Like, we have the train now, we have these beautiful libraries, we have Homegrown coming next year, which I myself am very excited for. I live just down the road from it, so I'm like, this is perfect. Thank you, Homegrown organisers and Hamilton City Council. So I just want to keep building on those opportunities for all of us to be able to thrive and participate in Hamilton.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. All right. So what challenges do you think Hamilton is facing at the moment? And have you got any strategies around to minimize those?
Yeah, so I think we're currently at a crossroads. We're seeing a push for less investment in particular parts of our city. So recently, some councillors were advocating to cut jobs for our city council, which is, you know, a lot of our graduates from the university, that's their first opportunity to create a career, and that's a really big problem if we start cutting the lesser jobs like that, or even our cleaners, our people who look after our gardens. I think that's a really big challenge at the moment that we're trying to, well, I've seen City Council trying to balance being good governance and making sure that we do have money to do the things we want to do, but also making sure we have the people to do those jobs. And I think another thing is that, like I said, we are the fastest growing city in Aotearoa for 2 years straight now. We're trying to grow our housing population, but we can't because we don't have the infrastructure, we don't have good pipes, we've got an ageing infrastructure, and I think if we can deal with that, we can then build more houses, whether it's one house by itself or having higher density, so apartments. That would actually help with a lot of stability that we need in the city at the moment. So those are two biggest problems, I think, or challenges that we have at the moment.
Great, thank you. All right. So your campaign says, for way too long, local politics has mostly failed to inspire or reflect our needs. Can you please elaborate how and why do you think it is this way, and how can things be done differently?
Yeah, I think one first thing I will start off with is that our median age in Kōrero is 33, and currently we only have one city councillor that is under that threshold. Everyone else is older, which is not a problem. I don't think that's a problem per se, but if we want to inspire young people to want to participate in democracy, in the city at large, we need to start having thoughts and strategies to actually engage them. Otherwise, we just continue to fail and put the blame on young people as a problem in society rather than something that hasn't been nourished to actively participate. I know that a lot of my friends are like, wow, why would we stay in Hamilton? There's nothing to offer for us here unless you're making big bucks or have a family. You know, there's a lot of my generation who haven't had kids yet, and I'm 27, and that's a lot of us who are opting, you know, to pursue a career or just to have no kids. So I think that's one way that we've failed as a city to actually think about young people in the grand scheme of things outside of the high school age range. We definitely neglect the university age, but you know, also there's people that are transitioning from schooling, education to a job. We haven't really got a plan for that yet. So I'm quite stoked that the council has looked at a rangatahi action plan, and that's been signed sealed. But I think there's a lot of opportunities there that we could build upon that will help those in those middle categories who aren't you know yet thriving enough to be on a youth council, but they're not in trouble enough to already have a wraparound support from organisations. So all those things.
Creating opportunities for them, creating jobs for them.
Yeah, and just having something fun to do, you know. We've complained about Garden Place for so long, but we haven't asked young people what they want, and most of the time they just want a market to go and hang out with it at the Saturday, meet up with friends. You know, the bus station's so close to Garden Place, so it's not too difficult to get into town. So that's what I think. It's been really difficult to feel inspired.
That's a great insight. Thank you. How would you address housing affordability in Hamilton, and what actions would you take?
Again, I think it comes back to the cost of living crisis. If we as council, I'm saying we to be optimistic that I get into council, but if council is really wanting to invest in affordability or the cost of living crisis, they do need to be paying their staff a living wage, because more money in pocket means more money to spend on whatever they want to, whether it's a house, whether it's to afford rent in a different neighbourhood, or you know, all these little things. But again, it comes back to we don't even have the infrastructure to build good homes. So if we could address that first, then it will be easier for us to address rates issues, because we have high rates now because we haven't decided to pay for our infrastructure or anything like that.
Great, thank you. Yeah, that we literally jumped into my next question. So I was going to ask you, already, it's a real hot topic at the moment, and you mentioned it as well. So why all these rates are so high? Can they be reduced, or in a way, or can they be controlled so that everyone can afford it?
Yeah, and it's really hard. It's really important that we talk about rates, but we also need to talk about what we're willing to lose if we don't increase rates. I think about all the times that some of our communities flood, and the only thing that will pay for the people to go out to fix, our pipes or to clear the roads of, tree leaves and stuff like that actually do cause a little bit of flooding. Are they willing to cut those jobs to have cheaper rates, all those kinds of things? But on the flip side, I think that council hasn't advocated enough to central government. Central government takes, I think, for every dollar every dollar council uses for rates, gets from rates, government gets $10 off. So we could actually use that leverage to ask them and advocate for them, which is something that local government New Zealand have been advocating for, is to actually get that money back so that we can actually pay for things like pipes. And then it wouldn't impact people as hard as rates are doing now. And, the rates have only gone up because governments have wiped away Three Waters legislation, which would have had them pay for our water infrastructure. But now we have to cover the costs of that ourselves in the rates, which, could have been an easier one for us if we...
That's a great one. But rather than being just depending on these rates, are there not any other ways of bringing revenue to the council so that,
There's so many ways. And I'm not an advocate for, with people are wanting free parking in the CBD, but they don't want to pay for it. But if we paid for the parking, then that's actually more money going to council, and then our our rates would be lowered. So there's all these other opportunities that people are just really, and I don't think it's the people's problem. I think it's council's inability to communicate to the common person about what actually is being paid for by rates, what this minor inconvenience of a $3 parking for 2 hours could actually lower our rates. So there's all these different opportunities, and I think we could also, with all the Crown land that is in Hamilton, we could be asking council for, to pay us for that land. Like you think of all of MOE, Ministry of Education, all those kinds of Crown lands that are within our city. We could be asking for money for that, for lease. There's so many other opportunities for revenue that we just haven't looked at yet, or it hasn't been a decision because people aren't asking those questions as well. So it's about, asking the questions instead of just being like, let's just keep hiking rates up. Well, why don't we just have a little bit of creativity and curiosity as to what else could be made cheaper.
Great, thank you. What initiatives will you introduce to promote environmental sustainability in Hamilton?
Yeah, I have been loving some of the campaigns around Hamilton City Council. I don't know about you, but I also hate moth plants. They're like these little fruity, they're not even fruit, they're like a pod, very large pod, but they're an invasive species. And so they get all these schools involved to, how many moth plants can you get rid of? And then they all take photos together. And it's really a wholesome way of, one, educating people on the problems in our tile, in our environment, but also getting our communities actually involved rather than relying on one person to make the decision that they're going to take out a whole invasive species. And I think we do also have the opportunity to really invest in our environmental groups. So I'm a volunteer at the AJ Seeley Gully, because it's just down the road from me. And we spent 3 hours just getting rid of Tradescantia, a little viney, kind of looks like poison ivy in a way, like it's just that ropey pest plant. But those are the things that we could also be investing in, making sure that they do have the money, so it's not relying on volunteers who do really care about our city and have that connection and that, I guess, history of, you know, these intergenerational families who are like, yeah, this is what we remember when there was no trees here, or that we didn't have a kaka in the bush. All those really beautiful places that are tucked away, especially those tucked away ones like AJC Lee Gully. How do we communicate and get more people involved in our restoration efforts? Mm-hmm. So I think that's cool. But also there was a cool campaign. It was like a Keep Cup campaign. And it engaged our local businesses that if you bought a Keep Cup, you could get like 20 cents off, or if you use those edible cups, it was like cheaper. All those ways that we can or become engaged, whether it's at an individual level of like the Keep Cup, or to actually coming out to any of our planting or restoration efforts. I think we could communicate about those a bit more effectively.
And do it with the community together.
Yeah.
That will be more successful.
Yeah.
That's a great one. Thank you. All right. Transportation.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think existing public transportation is efficient, or do we need to make some major changes so we are ready for the future, as Hamilton is the fastest growing city in the country?
I think we do have an issue when it comes to public transportation. I think things like the Meteor, the future of the Rosatuna rocket, which will be the orbiter of Rosatuna, which is so broad because I want that everywhere. And Meteor, those are really efficient ways of transport. 50 minutes, 15 to 10 minute waits for the next bus to come around. But it's about connecting those other communities up. So it's not just I live in Claudelands, so I can't catch is it the Meteor? The Meteor, because it doesn't come our way. But something that could do the orbiter route, but half of, you know, Hamilton East, like the whole circuit, and Hamilton West as a whole circuit, which is just a little passion of mine. And I'm like, yeah, let's make this more efficient. But I think something that we could do initially is actually working with NZTA a little bit better when it comes to making it accessible. A lot of people, you know, whether you've got a kid in a pram, or you're using a wheelchair, or you just can't get your leg up high enough to climb up into the bus, we have accessibility issues that really need to be addressed. The pathways to, like the literal paths, to a bus stop are sometimes got cars blocking the way, or they've got tree branches that make it really hard for people with mobility issues to navigate. If we actually put an effort to make sure that those pathways are cleared, then it makes it safer for people who want to use public transport or who have no other option as well. But one thing I would really love to see is late at night bus options, because I don't know about you, but my life doesn't revolve around the 9 to 5.
Oh, okay.
I do have things to do after 7 o'clock, and it'd be really cool to be able to use public transport outside of the Meteor or the orbiter, things like that, because our lives shouldn't revolve around a 9 to 5. It should be wherever.
What time do we I'm not sure, I don't use much bus, sorry.
The orbiter is usually more frequent. I think it's about 9:30, because you can catch I've caught the bus from the Rosokodi station back to my place, but those other routes that could be a lot the different, suburban, I was trying to think of the word, suburban routes, they could be a little bit later for those people who don't just work from 8:30 to 6 or those kinds of things.
What about the congestion? Do you think peak times, are we struggling, or?
Well, at least for me, from what I see and what I've done when I worked at regional council, when you try and catch the bus, it's full of all these school students, which is awesome. But we also need to have it more frequent so that it's not just every hour, 45 minutes for the suburban routes to do pickups. It'd be really awesome if we could actually have a bit more frequency, because that's the problem, right? Is that if you want to choose to take the bus, you're like, oh, well, it's going to be packed at 8:30 through to about 9:30, so there's no point me even trying to it, so I'm going to drive my car. And I've definitely made that decision a couple of times where I'm like, I need to get to work by 9. The bus is not on time, or it's not, it's full. I don't want to take that risk of being kind of sandwiched in. I'd rather just the comfort of my car. And I think that is a conversation that we need to have more of.
Great, thank you. What measures will you take to reduce homelessness and provide support for those in need?
I think a lot of it is actually the conversation that we've had. We've kind of villainized our homeless people. They're people that have either been shipped here because Auckland doesn't want to deal with the problem, so their solution was to move them out of the city. Now they're living in our city, and how do we actually reciprocate that manaakitanga that we've all felt before when we've been in the city, regardless of whether we're super rich or not rich at all. We all deserve a place that we can call home. And some of them don't want to call it here home, but it's the stop between being able to get to the next place, because bus tickets are not cheap these days to get down the city. But so one of it is about the conversation and not villainizing them. Like, yes, there is a balance between protecting our business owners who are kind of concerned about what's happening, but it's also coming back to the problem that they're homeless for a reason, whether it's a mental health crisis, whether it's being kicked out of a home because there's too many people there, or, you know, there's so many ways that we can deal with it. I think starting with the conversation that these are human beings that we're talking to and talking about, and we never bring them into the conversation. We keep villainizing them. The other thing is that there are so many good services in Hamilton that deal with homeless people. So how do we actually give them the confidence and the stability in this really fluctuating charity sector moment where there's no funding coming from anywhere? They're just basically getting to the point where they're begging for money to continue doing their really important work. How do we have these conversations and bring these services in to better support people? I think of people like Orange Sky. There was a conversation at council that people were saying that, oh, they're washing their clothes in the fountains, even though there's no data for that. How do we get Orange Sky to come along a little bit more frequently so that they can wash their clothes or they can have a shower? You know, these little things that we can just better connect services with is something that we should really be doing, rather than, you know, the continue to villainize people who just...
Thank you.
Yeah.
Related to health and social services, again, we jumped into my next question. How will you support mental health services and addiction recovery programs in the city?
Yeah, I think it's that balance of, I'm sounding like a politician, a true politician. You know, it's that balance of, you know, the privacy that people like the Needle Exchange, which I went to a couple of weeks ago for International Overdose Awareness Day, and supported Know Your Stuff, a drug testing organisation who were based there for that day. How do we create safety for them? Because when I was there, someone was really upset because they couldn't get $20. With what they used that $20 for, not my problem. But it was being really agitated. How do we support them to continue doing their job when they're in these really precarious situations of like safety? How do we... I don't think it's about... because they don't want to call cops on people. So how do we create a community of safety around these organisations so that they want to keep turning up to work is one thing. And how do we keep the people who want to access those services, like mental health services, in a safe place as well. I think one thing that we advocated for through my youth advisory group that works in the mental health sector, through the Rangatahi Action Plan, was that we actually just need more spaces that are free for people to use, and a lot bit more conversation, because I know that Western communities seem to have programs coming out the ears for different kinds of events, whether it's a trip for the elderly around town or if it's cheaper food. There's always a reason why people have mental health distress, and there's really easy ways like food packages or access to housing, access to someone to talk to. And I think council can be a better facilitator in some of those conversations and connecting all these organisations together rather than them continue to working in silos. And yeah. Great,
thank you. All right. How would you support local and small businesses to grow? Do you have any plans?
Yeah, I think, and this is a conversation we had at Riverlea, so I'm glad that I have more than 20 seconds to communicate it. We need to make it really, we need to make shopping outside of, the malls an attractive thing to do. Like what we've seen with Made, it's really cool, it's really clean, everything about it draws you in. And I think we can do a lot of that in our different parts of, especially Hamiltonese. I think about 5 Crossroads a lot because that's my community, and the fact that we have people dumping rubbish illegally. How do we actually create communication with the business so that they can tell council we need someone to come and pick up this rubbish? Like, this is so disgusting, and it is disgusting. It's really gross. People just dumping, nappies and bits and pieces and all that kind of stuff, and it's a complaint on our community page, Facebook page a lot.
Don't they have bins?
Yeah, they have bins, but then people will overdo it. And it's definitely not the business's fault. And, they've put in more bins to kind of try and alleviate some of that waste. But it's just ongoing. So is that actually what would help the businesses would actually be a more frequent rubbish pickup for households? Is it making the rubbish tip, the rubbish tip, cheaper? Because I know a lot of people have complained that that's gone up and now they don't want to take their rubbish there. They're going to just dump it in some random gully, and those are really, disappointing conversations that the community's been having, but that's only just because there hasn't been a solution. So it could be just beautifying up our city so that people want to shop there. Like, I'll still go to 5 Crossroads to do my up shopping and picking up some of my herbs and spices. But it's about how do we actually make these places more attractive. Another thing is that I'm really against having more vape shops popping up. There's about 3 in the same blimmin' block, which I think is just a bit unacceptable. We shouldn't be wanting to continue to bring in these industries, I'll say, that are known for the environmental impacts of just like the amount of rubbish. I don't know if you've been outside Vapo at Garden Place, but there's stickers from the vape boxes everywhere. There's the vape boxes. When I parked my car, there's vape rubbish in the garden. I'll go back to pick it up. But it's like, I'm going to be late. All these things that contribute to the uncleanliness. So it might not be giving more money to businesses from a council perspective, but it's these other parts that council have the opportunity to make these places pretty and actually have good lighting. So you're not walking there in the dark and you're like, oh my God, this feels really dodgy. So those are some things that I think that could be an instant win for local businesses and for our communities to want to go out and shop more.
Great, thank you. That's a great one. All right, we are coming to the random quick questions. What are top 3 things Hamilton needs right now?
I think it needs to pick up the vibe. This is such a young person way of thinking, but when we talk about Hamilton, we talk about it being as a stop-in for going to the mountains, to the snow, to Ruapehu. It's about stopping here to go to Raglan or stopping here to go to... We need to cut that conversation because I love the city so much and I'm sick of defending it on social media. So I think it's just about how do we create a culture that's actually really pro-Hamilton and we are the fastest city.
Everyone.
Yeah, and just making it a really cool place to be. And that's, again, coming back to those events. That will help liven up. You see how big Kōrero Park is. It's we should have a festival here, we should have a homegrown too, right there. And all these other places that we just underutilise because of some of the red tape that comes with council facilities. But I would love to see so much more events. I think of my friends at Festival of Weird who changed Garden Place in such a good way. There was no people being a pain to homeless people because homeless people were joining in with the Festival of Weird celebrations. So I think that's what it needs right now. It's just a bit of freshness to bring back the vitality of the city and the good vibes.
Great, thank you. What are top 3 beautiful places in Hamilton as a point of tourist attraction?
Well, you can't go wrong with Hamilton Gardens, and I'm also pro that as a tourist attraction because if you don't live in the boundaries of Hamilton City Council, you have to pay $20. And it's such a cool space. You have the parts that are paid for, obviously, are really cool, awesome garden themes, but then there's also, the part where we have, what is it called? Gourmet in the Gardens.
Yes.
That big, huge park that I remember coming to for the first time when I had a for Uni O Week, there was an event there, and it was part of our uni package to go to this festival. And we're like, this is so cool, a free concert. It wasn't free, we did have to pay, but you know, those kinds of things. So I think that is one of our beautiful tourist attractions, and you also can't go wrong with the zoo. Beautiful cafe every day is such a just perfect. I love them. It's so good there. And whether you want to go to Waiwhakareke as a free spot, beautiful gully, or to the zoo itself for, you know, for our little rangatahi tamariki who enjoy seeing all those little animals. The third one, I'm trying to do both sides of the river so it's not biased, so just the ease. But I think something, and it's a bit of a nature nerd of me, is manga iti. I took my friend there for the first time and for my own first time. And I would never have thought that that was in Hamilton. Like, it's so lush with bush. And you actually think you're in somewhere like Zealandia in Wellington because you're like, what the heck? And this is free. And there's tuna here. All those the little tucked away places that, you know, you drive past every day, but you never take the initiative to participate in. And you're like, whoa, this is cool. And it's free. This is so cool.
I think the one in your Hamilton East itself, the Wellington...
Oh, yeah. Wellington Street Beach,
yeah. That's beautiful as well, right?
And I can't wait for the upgrades because they're going to put better toilets, which is a fan favourite for myself. I love a good toilet at a, you know, public place. I also love Piranha Park. I'm just going to keep... I think
true.
This is outside. My photo is taken in Jubilee Claudelands Park.
Okay, I was trying to...
Yeah, it's right by when you drive in for the farmers market.
Oh, okay.
There's a little bit there. So there's so many places that we have.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So a lot of opportunities as well, I guess, is it?
Exactly.
Great, thank you. All right. So, if you are given 1 million grant right now, at this moment, what would you use it on? What services or... Of course, not on personal use.
Yeah, it's like, I would love to pay off
if you're elected as a counselor,
loan.
if you're elected as a counselor and you're given this grant, what are your priorities? What would you use it on?
I think it's about, again, coming back to that infrastructure issue. If we spent, that $1 million isn't even, this is like the worst part about council and like, you know, just going about your day-to-day life. You don't grasp what $1 million is. But to council as a $1 billion, you know, organisation, that's like nothing. You know, it's just a touch in the grass for them. But for me, I think it would be again addressing the infrastructure, because if we invest in the infrastructure, then we won't have to pay as much rates and deal with that, and then people will then have more houses that we could build, and which will help Great. You know, sort a lot of our issues out.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the great insight. So, do you have anything for the audience?
Please vote me number 1. I'll be happy with number 2 though. You know, there's 26 of us, and it's really cool that if you've made it to the end, that you did make it to the end. And especially trying to do this with 26 other candidates for Hamilton East, let alone all of us amongst the mayoral candidates, and then on Hamilton West, and then if you want to go further with regional council. But yeah, I'm happy to take your number 1. But one thing that I'm really, really passionate about is making sure that you vote to keep our Māori wards. Our Māori wards are having a referendum this year, as triggered by central government. If you value the perspectives of people that are from this whenua who have that really long historical connection to Aotearoa, it's really important that we keep ensuring that they have a space at the table. I've really been stoked with the mahi that Moko Tawariki and Maria Huata as our current Māori Ward City Councillors. So I'd love for them to keep going, although Moko is stepping down. But, you know, that whakaaro has been really important and has gotten us masatini here, well, down the road in Hopu Hopu. You know, there's really great opportunities if we just keep our Māori wards.
Great, thank you. All right, thanks for coming on Kōrero with Vaishali. It was a great pleasure to have you and know what's the best that you're planning to bring for our city.
Cool, thank you so much.
Awesome, thank you everyone. Thanks for watching, and please, your vote counts, so don't forget to vote. Please vote. Thank you.